Frigid temperatures. Bundle up. It is unsafe to be outside with temperatures like this. 13 with that east wind at 12 makes it feel like it's 1 below. Temperature's only going to go down, and then we're going to be putting 12 inches of snow on top of this. And this snow's not going anywhere. 37's our normal high this time of year. Watch that. Look at that. We're going to see highs only in the low 20s at best for the next 10 days. Overnight lows around 0. Wind chills overnight for the next week. 10, 20 degrees below 0. All right, let's go through the hour by hour so we know exactly what to expect for the rest of the night. As we go into, say, the evening hours, we'll get some pockets here and there. That's what we're seeing on radar right now, where we will get a little bit of light accumulation. So we may get, before midnight, 1 inch, maybe 2. This isn't the brunt of the storm. Many of us are going to go to bed tonight, not have any snow on the ground whatsoever. So I don't want you to think, oh, where'd all this snow happen? It's still well back to our south and west. We get into the overnight hours. Watch how dark these blues become. So instead of the light blue, it's really starting to pick up on these heavier bands coming in. 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, the whole state dealing with this. That's why there's a state of emergency across the state. We don't have storms that really affect every single aspect, every single part of the state like this. This is one of those rare ones that we do. Here's what I'm worried about. Into southern Ohio, as we start to get into the afternoon, we may see some of this warmer air trying to creep up. So we'll see a little bit of ice possibly mixing in. Notice by noon, as we warm up a little bit more, we'll only get into the low 20s tomorrow. It'll feel much colder. Winds will be blowing this snow around. This isn't going to be great snowman making snow. It's going to be light and fluffy. It's going to blow around. So on those rural county roads, things like that, 2-lane roads, it's going to be blowing around. So those roads will, even if they're plowed, are going to get shut down, or the snow is going to blow right back over them. This is our question. How much are we going to get some ice with this? It does look like, with the latest models, it is pushing some of that ice and snow, or some of that ice up to areas along the Ohio River. So really from Marietta, southern Athens County, over to Portsmouth. Kind of on the line there. I think we're going to be fine in Columbus, in most of central Ohio and areas north of I-70. I think we're going to be fine. But especially into southern Ohio, maybe dealing with a little bit of ice, which is not what we need to see. We get to Sunday night, Sunday at 11 o'clock. Okay, now we're kind of out of it. We're pretty much on the back side of this. Yeah, we may get a little bit of wraparound moisture on the back side of it. It's not going to be a major problem for us. Our problem on Monday is going to be the cleanup and these low temperatures, which are going to be in the single digits for most of the day. Add in the wind chill, it's going to have more of a bite to it. So how much are we looking? Remember, that 8 to 12 was down south of I-70 on Thursday. We've updated these numbers. We've pushed that 8 to 12 all the way up. Logan, Union County, Marion County, Morrow County, Knox County. So everybody kind of in this, and notice that plus on it too, because we'll get some pockets here and there, or we'll get an isolated snow squall or something. That's the other thing, being out in this. When it's blowing, drifting, you get these heavier pockets, you get these squalls where you're driving and it's fine. And then the next thing you know, you come up and it's whiteout conditions. That's why we say stay safe, stay off the roads if you can, because you can't really predict these snow squalls as well. 6 to 10 inches, where we're getting a little bit of less snow into northwestern Ohio. Not less at all when we're talking a ½ foot. So our weather alert day, Sunday. Then next week, we deal with a few spots here and there where we'll get a few flurries, but the major snow is tomorrow. And if you could just stay inside 24 hours tomorrow, that would be great. And then the rest of the week, look at that. Temperatures into the mid-teens, overnight lows into the single digits. Morning wind chills next week. We start at 0 tomorrow, 9 below on Monday, 21 below on Tuesday, and we stay below 0 for the rest of the week. Wind chill wise, it is going to be absolutely bitterly cold next week. So it's not just the snow, and that's coming, but it's also these bitterly cold temperatures. We want you to stay safe. All right, we will return to regular programming. Buck will be in here taking you through the rest of the night. He's going to have you come on. He's right there.
the heaviest for us. I would avoid travel tomorrow. Phil Kelly mentioned at 6 o'clock they are expecting some power outages, but not necessarily because of ice, but it's more car accidents. Someone hits a telephone pole and it'll take out a neighborhood or two. Decreased visibility, though, as this snow moves in for tomorrow. Dangerously cold temperatures to follow this, and we're looking at 8 to 12 plus inches of snow with this event. Would not be surprised if we have some 14-inch totals. By the way, here's a QR code. You can scan that, go to our free Ohio weather app. This is a very useful tool because it's going to do a few things for you. First of all, there's a radar. You can time out where the snow is, where it's the heaviest. There's a 6-hour and a 24-hour futurecast. I'll step to the side so I'm not standing in front of it. The other thing that's really useful is it's going to give you alerts. So first of all, it's going to give you the alert that we have a winter storm warning for us here in central Ohio, as you can see here. So this winter storm warning is going to be for tonight, for the day tomorrow. But following that, as we head into your Monday, we've got a cold weather advisory and then an extreme cold watch heading into Monday night and Tuesday. So we've got kind of back-to-back-to-back winter weather events for us. But the big focus right now is on the snow. And if we zoom in the radar a little bit more, you can see we're getting some of these darker bands starting to show up out to the west here along Interstate 70 through Preble County, Montgomery County, and also as it starts making its way a little bit closer now into Clark County, which is where Springfield is, and Madison County, right on the edge of our viewing area. We take a look at the cameras. I want to take you out here. This is a look at the Ohio-Indiana state line. And if the headlights don't quite hit it right at the right time, there is snow on the pavement out there. So we are starting to see the snow falling out on the Ohio-Indiana state line. It's moving its way closer. If you need to still run some errands, because if you haven't planned ahead and you know you're going to probably be snowed in tomorrow, you can still get to the grocery. There's not much left. Well, I've seen some of the photos and videos from around the area. They are pretty bare outside. Snowy roads are on their way in, and it's moving its way closer from the west. For our viewing area, all the roads are still dry. Go out to Zanesville right now, 12 degrees for you. No snow on the road there. Going out to Springfield again, that's where we're starting to see some of those heavier snow bands move in, but it does not look like the snow's yet to Springfield on Interstate 70, but it is moving its way closer. So we're going to probably start seeing, at least in this particular scene, more of that snow sticking to the pavement there in Springfield. Nothing yet in Madison County, but once it gets to Springfield, going to move into Madison County and then eventually into Columbus. Now, if you are heading out still this evening, maybe you're going to that Blue Jackets game tonight, or maybe you're just getting together with some friends on the leading edge of the snow before you get snowed in tomorrow. It's cold, 13 degrees here in Columbus right now, and once you factor in that wind, it feels even colder. Our wind chill in Columbus is 1 below zero with that wind coming out of the east at 12 miles per hour. And we're seeing some other wind chills even colder than that, 5 below right now in Marion on your D.R. Horton, America's Builder current conditions. All right, so let's time it out. We're starting to see the heavier snow move in just after midnight tonight. Still not everyone. Notice that there's still some dry air up to the north in Marion and Crawford County near Bucyrus, but it will become persistent and steady as we go through the overnight hours. And it's going to be snowing pretty heavily. This is a look at 6 a.m. We stay all snow, blue, but if you look to the south there in Tennessee, Kentucky, they're getting some ice, and that ice line does nudge into the very southern portions of our state. If you get ice, that sleet, those ice pellets, every hour you have sleet, it's going to be 1 less inch of snow. But for most of us here in Ohio, it's going to be so cold, 19 degrees at noon tomorrow. This is likely going to stay an all snow event for us. This will start moving its way out as we head towards Sunday evening, tomorrow evening. And by the time that we get to 7 p.m. tomorrow, it's wrapping up, it's moving out, and then we just dig out, and it's going to be so cold on the backside of this. Snowfall totals, we're looking at 8 to 12 inches for most of us, 6 to 10 to the north, and then there will be some pockets or some bands where we have potentially 14 plus inches of snow. The one thing I am going to be watching carefully tonight, and especially tomorrow during the day, is if we get any ice to clip in to southern Ohio. Pike County, maybe. Athens County, maybe. And again, if you get some of those sleets, those ice pellets, it's going to knock down your snowfall totals a little bit, but you're still going to have so much snow before that ice even moves its way in. So this is a graphic to kind of, and this is a lot. I know I don't use this on TV normally, but we have a little bit of extra time here since we're just going through regular programming since the basketball game's not on. This gives you an idea of when the heaviest snow is going to be, and you can see between 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. is really when we have some of the heaviest snow falling, and I would say even almost 4 p.m. to 2 p.m. After 2 p.m. it starts to lighten up a little bit, but where you've got some of these pockets where you're getting 1 inch per hour or even close to it, that's what we consider heavy snow, 1 inch per hour, because every single hour. You're just piling that on. So again, 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow is when we're going to have some of our heaviest snow. And with us looking at 8 to 12 plus inches, this could easily put us in the maximum one-day snowfall total. It'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out. But again, it's just moving its way and getting closer. So the snow is going to pick up more and start falling here within the next few hours. It's already starting in western Ohio, moving in 12 degrees right now, or 12 degrees for the overnight low. Back up to about 22 tomorrow. It's going to be hazardous out there on the roads if you don't need to be out tomorrow. It's a great day to just fire up the crock pot and hang out inside. We'll continue digging out Monday, but look how cold it is. 14 for the high temperature, and you look at the extended forecast, 14 on Monday, 17 Tuesday, and then we stay in the teens all the way through the end of next week into next weekend. I look back, there's only been about 20 times that we have had this many consecutive days with high temperatures in the teens. So this is pretty rare to be this cold for this much of a prolonged streak, but it is going to get cold and stay cold for a while. Real quick before we get you back to programming, look at these wind chills on the way. It's going to feel like 0 tomorrow morning, 9 below Monday. Kids are probably going to be home Monday, and they may be home Tuesday with wind chills 20 below 0 or colder. We'll keep you updated. We'll be back at 7 p.m. with another update for you.
Fox 28 News at 10 starts now.
To show you where the snow is starting to fall. Notice that we're starting to get into these darker blues right on the west side of the state, and that's what's heading in our direction. Just showing you the regional view. We have these darker bands of blue out to the west, and this storm continues all the way down to Texas and even actually into New Mexico, over 1,300 miles away. So this is all heading in our direction, and it's going to be snowing for quite a while. We are just on the leading edge of this, making its way into Ohio. You look at the Ohio-Indiana state line, and the snow is now sticking to the berm of the highway here, the shoulder. So you can see it blowing around in front of that headlight there. So that's the Ohio-Indiana state line. You look at the Interstate 70-75 interchange. This is on the north side of Dayton. And it does look like we're just starting to get a little bit of a dusting there as well. So again, we're just on the leading edge of the snow moving in. And since the basketball game's been canceled, we figured we'd do updates every 30 minutes. This one's going to be a little bit shorter than the last one. We'll come back at about 7:30 with a little bit more. But we're looking at 8+ inches for pretty much all of central Ohio. Avoid travel tomorrow. The snow will pick up and be its heaviest between 4 a.m. tomorrow and 4 p.m. tomorrow. So again, we're just on the leading edge where you're starting to see some of these darker blues moving their way in. Our air is relatively dry right now. So even though the radar is showing the snow making its all the way out to Zanesville, none of this is reaching the ground for at least probably most of our area yet. It's going to take a little bit of time, and once it does fall, it is going to start falling at a pretty good clip. Taking you out to Madison County right now. Still not looking at too much. Maybe there is a little bit of a dusting there on the shoulder, just starting though. 12 degrees, and it is very cold if you are heading out the door. So I'm keeping an eye on all of those different cameras. I'll go back real quick. Springfield is on there as well, just out to our west. So we can see some of this snow as it's starting to move in. Right now, 12 in Springfield, and again, maybe a little bit of dusting there on the shoulder of Interstate 70, or even going up to Marysville right now. Roadways there are not looking too bad. I like this camera because you can see it being illuminated with the lights there. Maybe we are starting to get a little bit of a dusting on some of those surfaces. So again, this is just the leading edge. It's going to pick up tonight, the heaviest snow overnight through the afternoon tomorrow. 13 degrees outside right now, so the new wind chill is 0. We are down below 0 for London and Marion. Marion, it feels like it's 5 below 0 right now. It's been a very cold day. 6 below currently in Bucyrus and Mount Gilead. Two places excited for this snow, up near Bell Fountain and Mansfield. Mad River Mountain and snow trails. We'll take a look at the live camera coming up at 7:30, those locations. But Futurecast, to time it out, it does become a little bit more persistent as we get after midnight tonight and steady snow through the morning tomorrow. This is a look at 6 a.m. Stop it for you again at 8 a.m. Notice this ice line is getting close. It should stay right down near the Ohio River, maybe getting a little bit into Ohio with potentially some sleet and freezing rain. Right now, it's just on the edge of our viewing area where we stay mostly snow, which does start to wrap up by the late afternoon and evening tomorrow. So by 7 p.m., it's moving out of here. So within the next 24 hours, we are going to be picking up a substantial amount of snow. 8 to 12+ inches of snow for most of us. I was just looking at some of the new forecast models, and they've got a band of basically 12+ inches, basically around 12 inches for the Interstate 70 and Interstate 71 corridor. So this is going to be quite a bit of snow for us. And another thing, people have been asking this question, are we going to have a blizzard with this? Technically, no. You need visibility to be a quarter-mile visibility or less, and the winds, this is definitely not going to happen. 35-mile-per-hour sustained winds, and that has to be persistent for 3 hours for both of those things. We may get some reduced visibility with the snow falling, but we will not have excessive winds with this. As we look ahead to the next several days, our strongest winds are going to be Monday and Tuesday, 14 and 15 miles per hour on average. So not necessarily super windy, but once the snow moves out of here after tomorrow, we are going to be dealing with high temperatures in the teens as we go through next week. So it is going to stay frigid. This one's a little bit shorter. We're going to come back at 7:30 and do different locations. What time the snow is likely going to be falling the heaviest for the different cities around Central Ohio. We'll have that for you coming up at 7:30. Stay tuned right here, ABC 6. Well, good Saturday evening, everyone. Meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael here. We are watching the snow moving its way in. It has already started in parts of the state and starting to get into some of the darker blues, moving its way closer into our neck of the woods. This goes all the way back down to New Mexico, so they're dealing with a lot of snow in Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and now into Ohio. I'm really glad we're not dealing with the ice that they've got down to the south. My brother lives in Dallas. He sent me video that he's pushing the kids down the driveway because it's a sheet of ice. So I'm really glad that we are dealing with just snow moving its way in. We are starting to get into some of these darker blues, especially just to our west, out in the Miami Valley and north of Dayton, where the snow is starting to fall. It's just going to start out light at first. The heavy snow doesn't really move in until after midnight. But as far as here in Columbus, the snow is not quite hitting the ground yet. It's falling from the clouds above us, but it is not quite reaching the ground yet. I would say give it another 30 minutes and we're going to start to see that happen. Out to the west here, this is a look at Interstate 70 out at the Ohio-Indiana state line. Starting to get some snow to show up there, and also on the shoulders here in Dayton. We're starting to see a little bit of that snow starting to stick just a little bit, and there's an ODOT crew going right through there. Salt truck and plow getting ready to tackle the snow on its way in. So again, looking at some of the cameras here, we're not seeing too much just yet. This is out in Madison County, just out on the west side of our viewing area, but maybe just a little bit of a dusting there on the shoulder. So it's moving in, and it's going to continue to pick up. The heaviest snow doesn't really move in until after midnight, so you still have this evening to run some errands. Blue Jackets game's already taken place, so if you're running to that last second, snow's really not going to start picking up and become heavy until late tonight. Here's a QR code right there. You can scan that to go to our free Ohio weather app. So that way you'll be notified when there's all these watches, warnings. There's a radar, there's a futurecast on there. But we're going to have heavy snow tomorrow. Avoid travel if you can. We're going to have reduced visibility and just dangerously cold after this. We're looking at 8 to 12 plus inches of snow for central Ohio. And I said yesterday, that is not a sentence that you can use very often. I've lived in Ohio all of my life, and I can only think of a handful of situations where we've had this setup where we're going to get this much snow and where it's pretty much a guarantee that we're all going to get at least 8 inches with this. So here's what we've got. Snow showers starting to pick up just to our west, moving their way in. You might start to see a few flurries here shortly, but for most of us, it's not really snowing just yet, but it's on its way. 13 degrees right now. Real quick, focusing on the cold, 0 in Columbus. Keep that in mind tomorrow. With this snow, shovel it in waves, but make sure you're dressed warm. Our wind chills are either near or below 0 right now, and we're at 6 below in Mount Gilead and Mount Vernon. Snow showers moving in here on Futurecast, picking up in intensity and becoming widespread across the entire area here at 3 a.m. and it continues through the morning. Look how dark blue some of this is, some really intense snow. The ice line is getting close to Ohio, right near the Ohio River. That may nudge into Scioto County to the south, maybe Pike County or Athens County, potentially Jackson County. So far southern Ohio may get a little sleet, maybe freezing rain with this, and every hour you experience that, it would be 1 less inch of snow, but you're going to have a ton of snow before that would even move in. And you can see this continues through the afternoon, but we start getting some drier pockets to move in, and we're on the tail end of it at 5 p.m. tomorrow. By 7 p.m., it's on its way out of here. So again, we're looking at 8 to 12 inches of snow for pretty much all of us. The only exception would be to the north, maybe some 6 to 10 plus inches to the totals to the north, with pockets of 14 inches or more in some of these bands where those heavy bands set up, kind of like what we were just showing you on the radar. So this is a look at, I know this is busy, I don't use this on air hardly ever, but this gives you an idea. 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. is when we've been saying some of the heaviest snow will be, and this is based off of the Futurecast, and you can see really I think you could go almost 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. to tighten that window up a little bit more. But where you're getting some of this snowfall coming down at 1 inch or close to 1 inch an hour, that's what we consider heavy snow, and that's just going to continue through the morning, through the early afternoon. Winds are going to be a little bit of a concern. 12 to 13 miles per hour, you're going to get a little bit of blowing and drifting snow, but Tuesday, it is going to be frigid with wind chills around 25 below 0 for Tuesday morning. So the kids probably will be off of school on Monday as we dig this out because it stops Sunday night. It's going to take a little time to get those side streets clear. But then Tuesday, it's going to be frigid. Overnight low of 3 below Monday night into Tuesday, a high of 17. And we stay in the teens all the way through next weekend. Might get another inch or so Tuesday, another inch on Wednesday. Not nearly as much as what we're picking up right now. But again, we're starting to get into these darker blues moving in. So we just want to let you know it is on its way in, and it'll start picking up more tonight. We'll be live on Fox 28 tonight and also ABC 6, so we'll join you there. For now, we'll get you back to programming.